Alright, today I'm reviewing the Ibanez RGA622XH Prestige. This is a follow-up long-term review, so I'll let you know how this guitar has been, how much usage the 27th fret has gotten, how the features have been in general, how the guitar is held up as a whole, the quality, the playability, and I'll demonstrate how it sounds through little small samples and through a full mix demo song. And by the way, this video is not sponsored by Ibanez or any of the brands shown. So let's jump right in and let's start with the features. How have the 27 frets been? Are they just a gimmick? Well, honestly, I would do just fine with 24 frets. It's super rare that I go way up to the top here, and I'm in drop C also. So while it's nice getting that range back, there hasn't been that much practical application for me. That being said, it is really nice being able to hit those notes without having to bend up. So is it worth having these extra frets and moving the neck pickup back here? Maybe not, it's okay. Well, I'll talk about sound later. Having this rails neck pickup up here doesn't sound that bad. It's better than I thought it would be. The frets themselves are not stainless steel, they're the typical nickel silver. And in this day and age, that does seem like a miss. You get all kinds of modern superstrats with stainless steel frets. However, it's not the end of the world. I don't hate this fretwire material, and the guitar plays really nicely. I almost forget that these aren't stainless steel. If you think about it and you're doing vibrato or bends, you do notice the difference. But as you could tell, it wasn't a deal breaker for me. Now, the next feature I want to discuss is the angled output jack. You can see right here the output jack, it angles up like this. This complicates things if you have a straight cable and you're trying to play sitting down in the classical position. As you can see here, it'll go just straight into your leg. Now, getting an angled cable does fix the issue. You can play sitting down in the classical position just fine. However, when you're putting it on a guitar stand, this can catch. I'm talking about a guitar stand that kind of looks like this. So it's not too difficult to put the guitar on the stand, but over time, the little annoyance can add up. And I do admit there were times where I would grab a different guitar just because I knew I would be putting it on and off the stand repeatedly. I'd go for a guitar with the output jack right on the bottom here. If I have the guitar on the stand though, I will go ahead and just use it. And I will use it if I'm planning to record a song with this guitar specifically. If there's any parts I need this guitar for. All right, moving on, the pickups and the electronics. You've got a three-way switch, you've got a coil split, and the coil split sounds better than I thought it would. And the pickups, of course, you've got the humbucker and the rails, the Air Norton S in the neck, and the tone zone in the bridge. And with these utilities, I've been able to get all the sounds I need. I typically play full bridge or full neck. On some guitars, I'll use position 4 or position 2. That's usually on the HSH guitars I have for cleans. But like 90 to 95% of the time, I'm getting cleans with just the full neck pickup. And that's no different on this guitar. I really only use the coil split and stuff if I'm just practicing jamming around, experimenting with sounds. Would I change out the pickups on this? I don't think so. These sound pretty good. I've grown to really like the tone zone and the bridge. And the neck I usually just use for cleans these days, and this sounds just fine. I always keep the tone knob at full, so maybe if I was feeling like doing some wiring, I'd pull that out, put in a kill switch or something. But as it is, the tone stays in place pretty well. I haven't felt the desire to pull it out. Do I like this having a three-way switch instead of a five-way switch? Well, for me, yes. Since again, I use primarily full bridge or full neck. For me, it's preferable because then I won't get the switch stuck in position 4 or 2, since those don't exist. In terms of the bridge, the Low Pro has been fantastic. It's my favorite feeling bridge, and while I'm not a really big trem kind of guy, it is my favorite trem. I currently have the bridge blocked. I just taped a bunch of guitar picks together, put it in, it works perfectly fine, completely reversible. And that's made the tuning stability so good. It wasn't unstable though when I had it floating. Fantastic bridge. Now the tuners are non-locking, and personally I prefer locking tuners. It makes string changes super nice. Strings will never slip. And anything to make changing strings on a floating bridge is perfectly great. Some people dislike locking tuners, and if they don't work for you, that's fair. These are tools to make music. You got to find what works for you. I think this guitar would benefit from locking tuners, though it wouldn't throw off the balance. The guitar balance is perfectly fine. It's very solid. I haven't ran out and gotten them because these tuners are perfectly fine. I change strings about twice a year. If I was changing strings more regularly, though, like every month or so, then that would be upgrade number 1 I'd do to this guitar. All right, let's talk about the quality. This guitar feels extremely solid. The tuning stability is excellent. It stays in tune for hours. It's fantastic to use in recording sessions, and that's a big time saver when you're trying to get the perfect take. I do check the tuning pretty regularly when I am recording, but it still speeds things up if you're checking the tuning and it's in tune versus you're checking the tuning and you have to tune everything. The controls and the electronics have not failed or come loose. The potentiometers turn smoothly, and the wiring for everything, the switch, the potentiometers, etc., has held in place. Nothing's become disconnected. Nothing's failed. And unfortunately, I can't say that for all my guitars, for all my Prestiges, because I have had this RG5170B for some years. It's really fun to play. The basswood body is the perfect weight. The Fishman Fluence Moderns sound really good. Very fun, very fast guitar to play. But I don't use it in videos or in recording, and that's because the wiring for the neck pickup has failed. It's on my to-do list to try and debug it, but a combination of a tight schedule and the 5-way switch on this is actually a PCB, a printed circuit board. So beyond checking the contacts, trying to resolder things, it'd be tempting just to rip out that PCB, make things simpler, put in a traditional switch. And then I'm sad to say on the RG5320, the volume potentiometer is starting to have problems. Sometimes when I turn the volume down, signal still comes through. Maybe it's a contact issue, maybe I should just replace the whole pot. Another thing on the to-do list. This guitar is older than those other two shown though. But back to the RGA though, I'm grateful this hasn't had any of those problems. Now this guitar has held its setup very well. My first setup on it was good, it was decent, and it held that setup perfectly. And then over time, I have gotten a little bit better at setting up guitars, maybe a bit more lucky. But I reset this up a few months ago and it plays even better. I think this is one of my top players in the top 2 or 3. But I did find that, I guess, lucky combination of neck bow, string height, bridge height. And this has held that setup perfectly too, even as the seasons are changing. Let's see, beyond that, the neck hasn't warped or cracked in any way. No cracked fretboard. The strap buttons and tuners haven't failed. This does feel like a high quality instrument, and time has proven that to be so. All right, now let's focus on the playability and the feel. And this plays absolutely amazing. Again, it's in my top 2 or 3 best playing guitars. It has the Prestige neck profile here. I believe it's the Super Wizard HP. And you've got the typical Prestige dimensions. At the 1st fret, it's 17 millimeters thick. At the 12th fret, 19 millimeters thick. It does feel a bit thicker than those true measurements. I did do a video on guitar neck profiles, and one of the commenters, Crims, did list out some measurements, which was very cool to see. I love it when you guys comment on the videos. Love talking about guitar. And the true measurements of his Prestiges, they were a little bit thicker than the numbers cited on the website. And I think that's okay because I'm really a huge fan of how this neck feels. Now the frets in the context of playability, I've noted they don't have stainless steel frets on here. And I do prefer the feel of the stainless steel. I like how smooth it feels. Maybe they're not your cup of tea. But unless you absolutely hate the nickel silver fret wire, then even if you do prefer stainless steel frets, after a few seconds, half a minute, just a little bit of time of playing, you really forget about what it has on there. If I was speccing out my perfect guitar, would I put stainless steel frets on it? Well, of course, but these don't hinder the playing in any significant way. Now the 27 frets doesn't need 27 frets, probably not, but in the scope of playability it's nice because if you have a guitar designed to let you reach the 27th fret, then it's going to be super easy to hit the 24th fret. So even if you do rarely go all the way up to the highest fret, it's always very nice going up to the 20th, the 22nd, the 24th fret on this. Now, in terms of setting the action, no surprise here in Ibanez Prestige, you can get the action very low. I've gotten it to that 1 millimeter string height at the 14th fret. This guitar, at least for me, has held its setup so well that the only thing really limiting your playability is getting the right setup you like. In terms of playing sitting down or standing up, it's an archtop Superstrat. It'll play and feel like you'd expect it to. Getting the angled cable helps for playing sitting in the classical style, but the archtop makes it pretty comfortable for your picking hand. And then seated standard style, it is what you think. If you're not used to an archtop and you're more used to an RG, the kind of Superstrat with a flat top and then it's got the forearm carve. With the RGA, if you're not used to it, it does feel different, obviously. It doesn't have that forearm carve, it has a more gentle arch, but you get used to it pretty quick. It doesn't really cut into your forearm. And then playing standing up, it feels pretty natural. Now let's talk about how this guitar sounds. As mentioned, it has the DiMarzio tone zone and the Air Norton S rails. And the tone zone is the tone zone. You've got a mahogany Ibanez with a tone zone. It sounds like you think it would. Nice full tone. I've really come to like the tone zone more and more every time I use it. And then the Air Norton S, it doesn't sound truly like a full neck humbucker, but it's very close. If you use it in a song and you play it for someone, they're not going to be jumping out and saying, oh my goodness, you're using the rails instead of a neck humbucker and I wanted a neck humbucker. They're not going to say that. You can tell if you do a direct comparison with this and a full Air Norton humbucker, but the differences are so slight. This definitely gets the job done. And of course, you might prefer this sound more than a full humbucker. So here's a demonstration on how this sounds. Now, some overall thoughts on this guitar. I find the more I play this guitar, I think about this guitar, this is a very what-if guitar. I've wanted a RGA for a very long time, since almost when I started playing guitar. And so I pick this up, I play it, I love it, it's amazing. But sometimes I think, well, what if it had two humbuckers? Because I do prefer the HH setup. What if it only had 24 frets? And I say only 24, that's a lot of frets. What if it had stainless steel frets? So those what ifs do pop up in my head. And that's unfortunate because this is a fantastic guitar. I believe this guitar could serve all my needs. But because it doesn't have things set up quite in the way I would spec things out, that stops this from being my ultimate guitar in my mind. Although that being said, I do consider this to be a very powerful tool. Now, the question, is this guitar worth it? Is it worth the price? If you're looking for a 24 fret Super Strat, there are other options. A lot of them are less expensive. You don't need to spend this much money to get what you're looking for. But when you pick up and play one of these, you can see where the cost goes. It feels very, very high quality. It does feel a little better than my other Prestiges. So if you're a fan of the RGA series and a fan of Ibanez Prestige lines, then there's nothing quite like this. It gives you the full Ibanez Prestige playing experience in the RGA package. And it gives you a somewhat unique pickup configuration too. So this guitar, I'd say it is worth it if you are a fan. But if you don't care what brand you're playing, there are other options at various price points. So then would I have this as my only guitar? Even though I was talking about it not being my ultimate guitar, I could still use this as a single guitar. All the things that I would change about it, the fretwire material, the pickup configuration, when you're really in the zone, when you're really playing, all those things fall away. And what you're left with is a fantastic, easy playing, 27 fretted archtop guitar. Fantastic. And the color scheme is a bonus too. It's black with gold, just like my cat, black with yellow eyes. I guess you could consider the white pickups the claws and teeth. But what do you think about this guitar? Do you think this is the be-all, end-all RGA? Or would you look at other models or other brands to get features you really want, like stainless steel frets? Be sure to comment down below. You know this is YouTube, so I have to say the YouTube things. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, print out every frame and mail it. Join the Discord, check the socials. If you're looking for something cool to listen to, I've got music on all major streaming services. I do some originals, some video game music covers. And as always, peace. And now here's the full mix demo song.